Have you ever wondered why someone can be incredibly strong and still experience pain? Research shows that strength alone doesn't always predict whether someone will be hurting or stay injury-free. My name is Naomi Pendergast. I'm a movement specialist and I help people improve the way that they move, not just the way that they exercise. That's because how you move can be just as important as how strong you are. In this video, we'll look at why strength exercise isn't always enough and what we can do to relieve parts of the body that are in pain. Let's get started. The following 7 exercises are going to help prepare your body for squatting, lunging, pushing, pressing optimally and rotating without kind of those compensatory patterns kicking in from stiffness and tightness or restriction. So when we're looking at, preparing the body for weights, stretching is one component, but we have to really be looking at like what active stretches are we doing, what release are we doing, and what are we trying to bring back into balance so that the body can load correctly. So we're going to start sitting on a step, and the first thing we're going to do is target the spine, so mobility of the spine, so that we can stack the rib cage properly when we go into our squat pattern. So you're going to sit up really tall, soft knees, and you're going to take the hands behind the head. We're going to start by just rolling the chin down to the chest, making sure you don't slump into the lower back. So you're lifting tall, rolling down, drawing in, bringing the head down between the knees, taking a breath in, and then rolling back up again. So really important here that there's not a tug or pressure on the hands to pull you down. You're just going to slowly allow yourself to roll down. Now, these exercises I'm giving you are obviously we're using body weight today, but as you advance and you become a little less restricted, the body does need more stimulus to do the same kind of movement. So you might add in different things. You might take away this to be lower to the floor. We might add in, bands and weights and things like that. So that's how we progress our warm-ups and our conditioning exercises as we advance through the movements. And breathing out, let's do one more. Roll it down. Breathe in and then roll back up again. Now we're going to go into an active stretch. We separate the legs a little bit. We sit up as tall as we can. This is a hip hinge exercise. So again, when we go into the squat pattern, we want to be able to hinge at the hip so that we don't kind of roll into the lower back. So we've stretched the back out now. We want to lift up tall, keep the torso tall. You can either have your hands across your chest or out the front, and you're going to hinge forward. And you're going to bring your torso forward towards the floor, aiming for that kind of, horizontal position. But you don't want to compromise by rounding the back, because this is all about finding an active length here. So we're working the deep muscles of the core to maintain length in the spine. We're also actively using the hamstrings and adductors to hold us up. So you can bring your arms out in front. That's a little harder. And you can also hold a weight. You might hold a 2-kilo plate or a dumbbell and hold it in front. You hold here for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then you bring it back up again. Building yourself up. So you might decide once you can hold it there for 20 seconds, you might go to 30. And you hold that position, really challenging yourself in that position, in that hip hinge, but without forcing so much that you feel discomfort or that you collapse into your torso. You breathe and you hold. Good. And then you bring it all the way up. Now we're going to spin around and we're going to hold on to the edge of the box. So we have just looked at releasing the lower back and then working our hip hinge by getting the hamstrings active. You're now going to curl your toes under behind you. Your knees are kind of tucked in, but you're still in a long position in your back, so you're not rounded. So you're lengthening out. You're pushing out of the box or the step. You're going to lift your knees and your bottom goes up to the ceiling. Push your heels down. You'll notice I haven't locked my knees out because I don't want that rounded position in the back. I actually want this to be long. So my knees are kinked. I push my heels down because I want that flexion of the ankles. So we're getting calf and ankles here. Lift up onto my toes and come back down so I'm getting toe flexion back into that long position. So there's no change in my spine here. Lift the knees, push the heels down, get that roll through the ankles, hold. You'll notice that I'm pushing back a little bit in my knees, but only so that I don't round. So I don't want to lock them out and round. So I'm finding that length. My head is looking up and forward. Lift the heels and come back down. Now we're targeting toe, ankle, knee, hip, flexion and movement, pressing out of the hands. So we're getting that lower body roll. And those ankles are getting some movement in there. Good. Lift and bring it down. Now you're going to bring your hands into the center and we're going to work the forearm, the wrists, and the hands. So you want your weight here to be slightly forward over your wrist. You don't want to be sitting behind your wrist. So from here, you're going to stay over the top of the wrist and you're going to lift the heel of your hand, trying to push into your first finger knuckle. Then lower the heel of the hand and tap the step and lift again. Try to be conscious if your shoulders want to lift. Keep them down, lower it down. Again, trying to keep the spine in one position. This is quite a hard movement. Even though it doesn't look hard, it actually is quite challenging. Now, if you find it too easy, you can take the step away and do it on the ground where you're in more of this position. It'll be a lot harder. So you're lifting up. We're working here the forearms. So the same as we did through our feet, we're rolling and getting that connection all the way up through the arm lines. And again, 2 more. Good. Last one. Nice. Good. Now hands go back out again. We're going to press out into a plank position here, pushing out of the hands and tucking the chin. From here, you're going to step your left foot forward and you're going to open. You're not just going to drop into it and collapse because that's what we don't want. We want to try to find that connection through the entire body where we're holding ourselves up in that stretch. So that as I come into this position, I'm opening my chest, I'm finding length in my spine, and I'm creating a really efficient pattern through that lunge pattern, but I can feel myself holding myself up with this leg. I don't want to feel like I'm just collapsing down into a deep stretch. Yeah, I want to hold and actively hold my position, then step the foot backwards. Same thing on the other side, step forward, open the chest, actively hold yourself up with that right leg that stepped forward and push out of your hands, step it back. We'll do 1 more to each side and open, step it back, and again, out, open the chest, good, step it back, lower the knees. Let's shift the step out of the way and we're going to turn over and we're going to do an assisted roll up. So from here, you're going to lie down on your back. You're going to lift your knees and take your hands behind your knees. From here, you let them collapse into your chest to start. Now, when we roll up, it's quite easy to do this. So I've used a momentum and I've used my legs to roll me up. But what we want is we want to be able to use our deep core muscles to roll us up and articulate our spine. And if we can do that and we can do it well, then our body is going to be able to find that alignment where our ribs stack over our pelvis when we're squatting or when we're pressing overhead, when we need to be in that alignment. So this kind of exercise is really important to help us have the best function we can have in those areas of our body, because it really addresses the rib cage. So we're going to go back down. You're going to curl the head. Your fingers are here. You're going to roll up, trying not to use your knees. Come all the way. Hold that top position, making sure you haven't flipped forward onto the front of your sit bones. So you'll see I'm in a kind of rounded position. I'm going to see if I can take my hands away and hold it. And then roll down. Now, if you can do that, you want to see if you can do the same thing, keeping your knees still. You want to see if you can roll up without moving your knees and roll back down. That is quite challenging, and it might take you a little while to get to that. But if you can do that, then that is going to really enhance your ability to be able to shift into those correct postures and patterns when you're doing your squat and your press. So really work on that one. It's a really great one. So we're now going to do our twist for our rotation. So working those rotational muscles. And so you're going to keep your knees level, your hands are out. And from here, you're going to let your knees just fall. Let's fall to the left first. And as you fall to the left, you want to try to make sure those knees stay level across the top so that right knee doesn't drop backwards. So you shift and keep it level. From here, you hold that position. You take a breath in while you're in rotation. Then you breathe out to return yourself to the center. So the way the breath helps you here is that when we inhale, we increase our ability to twist. So if you breathe in on this rotation, even though it's a bit counterintuitive, and then you breathe out to return, it actually just encourages those rotational muscles to stretch and then to contract as you go through this movement. Breathing in and breathing out. And again, breathing in and breathing out. Good. Well done. So you can see there through those body weight movements what we're trying to target, what we're trying to actively activate and improve, and what we're trying to release and relax, and where we use the breath. It's all really important, but going back to some either body weight or, you can add in things like bands and discs and other, elements to challenge yourself. But having a really solid warm-up and lead into your weights is what's going to improve your movement. And when you improve your movement, then when you load your body, whether it be with, weights and dumbbells, or if it, is going rock climbing or doing something that is, a strength sport, you are going to be doing it on the best moving body. And that's what you want, because you're going to get that longevity and you want to be able to say yes to everything. So you don't want to have to think if your body's going to limit you. You want to think, yes, I want to do that, and not have to think twice about it. So really finding the movements that help you increase and improve your efficiency in your body is the most important thing. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions, then please drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you.